Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In case you're new here, I'm Kim. This is Core Union. I wanted to talk a little bit about hooponopono today. The 4 examples I'm going to give are going to be
to bring in a few $1,000s. Another one is going to be how I used it with an ex of mine, which was a romantic specific person. And then the other 2 situations both involved specific people as well.
With hooponopono, you're basically saying the following 4 phrases. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. How I learned it and how I applied it and how it's worked for me is that I'm not actually saying it in most cases. I'm not saying it directly to the person. You can, but I found it to be more effective when I actually am saying it to divine intelligence, God, universe, source, my higher self, the goddess in me. And I'm basically saying it would translate to this. I tap into that divinity within me by doing some deep breaths. I tap in and then I'm basically saying, I love you and I know that you love me. I'm sorry for creating this experience unknowingly. Apparently, there were some unconscious, subconscious thoughts that I wasn't aware of. So I'm sorry for creating this. Please forgive me. And then you're just giving thanks for being forgiven and being cleared of that negative belief, core wound, fear that created the situation. The first one I'm going to talk about will be with a customer of mine who lived upstairs from my business at the time. She called me one day when her order arrived and asked me to come upstairs. So I went upstairs and she just started basically being pretty condescending and abusive to me in a way that was completely unexpected.
What the hell?
I immediately got triggered. I went right into my ego. I decided to do hooponopono on it because I just couldn't, it was just really eating me away. And I felt really bad about how I responded and how I reacted. And I also felt really bad about how she treated me. So I wanted to take full responsibility for that. That evening, I brought the experience into my consciousness and I went through the prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Maybe for 5 to 10 minutes. And the next day when I went to work, she came in completely unexpectedly.
It's the hug plane coming in for a landing.
Just made this face and just like held her arms out and wanted a hug. So I gave her a hug. We pulled away and she just said, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I did that. And, and we ended up having a nice conversation. I apologized as well, obviously. And everything was harmonious and wonderful with her from that day forward. So the next situation was when we became aware of the pandemic in the US, that was like March of 2020, the winter leading up to that. So in 2019, I was just seeing this pattern across the board with all of my vendors of all these weird little notices of delays happening, and in most cases they were due to parts. The effect it was having was that I was starting to get notices of delays of customers' orders. I was experiencing this backlash of frustrated, angry customers. I took each and every one of their files and I thought about the delay and I went through the prayer with each and every one of them. And with each and every one of them, as I was doing it, I was starting to feel better. I was starting to feel good. I started to feel a harmony between us. And I started being able to imagine them just basically saying, it's okay, I understand, I totally understand. I know that this isn't you. It was phenomenal. I started hearing back from people who were frustrated with me just a couple days prior, explaining that they understood, that they knew it wasn't me. The next experience was with a romantic specific person, an ex of mine. We had a very bad blowout. I felt bad about my part in creating the experience. I was doing hooponopono for probably a good week, and I just kept thinking about the last experience that I felt bad about, the last experience that was very painful, and I kept just apologizing for having my part in it, for my creation of it, and for how I basically was seeing her. After a few days, she reached out to me and we communicated. And soon after that, she actually showed up unexpectedly at my business. And it was a really nice experience. It was very cathartic and very healing for both of us. The last experience I want to talk about is something that I did with money. It was a cute thing. I think it's worth talking about, and I'd say go ahead and try it because it did work. Now, this isn't something that I did often with money because I did get to a point where I was manifesting pretty regularly $100,000 in sales per month. I had a whole other system with that I'll talk about in other videos. So I decided to sit down, and this time I actually did something fun. I took a $100 bill and I was just looking at it while I was thinking about that I was having, such a slow week, and, I was experiencing not being able to pay the things I needed to pay. So I went into the prayer. After I was done with the prayer, I looked at the money and I said, I'm sorry that I haven't respected you. I'm sorry that I haven't appreciated you the way I should. Please come back to me and bring all of your friends. So again, I had done this to a $100 bill. And within a couple days after doing that, a customer came into the store and paid, maybe it was probably an order around $3,000 or $4,000 or so, in all $100 bills. Customers never paid with cash. They always paid with credit cards and checks. So it was very rare that somebody would place such a large order with me with cash in a $100 bill. So comment down below, let me know your experience, and let other subscribers know what your experience has been using hooponopono. And I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come.